going to do just a little something here as well. And we're going to be live on this thing as well. So, okay, so the tank is 6 months old to date. It was probably one of the, I don't want to jinx it, but one of the simpler starts where I actually took contents from 2 other aquariums and brought them all into one. And that was actually super helpful because this way I didn't have to have any holding tanks. I didn't have to wait for all the corals to grow out of little, little frags. I could reuse all of my live rock as well, which was super awesome because you had a fully cycled aquarium on day 1, pretty much. And I didn't have any diatoms, I didn't have anything really, and I have actually added all the fish, or at least half of the fish that you see here were there on day 1, and didn't have any issues from that perspective. All right, Robert says, hello, I'm looking at purchasing the same tank. Love your videos as there aren't many on this tank. Can you please cover any pros and cons? Thank you. All right, Robert, well, I can definitely talk about the pros and cons of this water box system. So it's not first of all, it's not a cheap system, but if you're going large, this is kind of what you're looking at, no matter which brand you go with. They all cost money. So I will mostly just talk about, considering that you are going to pay for an aquarium. I do like that. Okay, let's start first with some of the pros. The dimensions. I think the dimensions are close to perfect. This is the best kind of size that I could have picked where it was not custom. If I would have gone custom, I probably would have done something completely different in terms of shape. But if you're going wide, this is quite optimal. I think they have one more size which is available, especially in the States, where it's another, I think, 6 inches or 8 inches. I would have loved that, but you know what? This is perfect. So the size is probably my #1 pro when it comes to that. It is very, very long, but it's also has very good depth front to back. It's close to 30 inches front to back, which I think is super important. For those of you who are new to the hobby, you may not know, but what's happening is they are, let me just see this, yeah. So what's happening is the salt water will compress, or actually any water will compress the view once you add the water into aquarium. So things look a lot closer when you are looking up front than what really it is. So it's very hard to gauge the distance or the depth of the aquarium. So I think it's called a diffraction principle, and it's about 30% different. So if you're looking at an aquarium and you think that it is, say, 2 feet long, it's actually about 3 feet long, so by about 30% more. So it's a really interesting aspect of what a reef tank is. Now the second, but the con of that, or the size of it, is the fact that good luck picking it up and getting it inside of the house, and just you'll be dealing with a lot of challenges with this. Just gonna take a look at my Linkia Star here. I think it's doing fine, but one of the legs is a little bit miscolored. So the regular shipping company will not deliver it to you. That is pretty much a fact. Unfortunately, you can't do that. The reason is it's so heavy and it requires several people, and you can't actually use a forklift or like those tiny ones that you know, people that deliver fridges or you know, couches, you cannot use something like this. A little tidbit: when I had the tank delivered for the first time, I was super excited. I had prepared to receive it, and you know, the truck comes up. It's a massive truck, backs up, and then a gentleman that was there tried to get it on the platform, and he couldn't. So there's this little portable platform that you need to roll the tank on. You have to turn it 90 degrees, and then you can lower it down. Well, guess what? You cannot do that maneuver, and it won't fit on that platform. It's that heavy and unwieldy. So that is definitely a big con. But you'll be dealing with that with anything unless you're building one on the premises. So just be prepared for that, and you will need movers for this, and then you will have movers that are actually bringing it in-house and everything else. So that's very tough. But in terms of, again, the Pro, perfect dimensions in my opinion. It's super long, so it's beautiful from that perspective. It doesn't show up as much on a photo because everything just looks smaller to scale, but this thing is massive. The depth, the front to back, to me is the most important aspect of any reef aquarium. It's the most important one, and if I could, I'd go even more, but yeah, guess what? It's a whole other ball of wax. And height is awesome as well. I can still kind of get in, but you know what? As I've been going higher, this is probably as high as I would ever want my tank to be, because even this, you can no longer like go in and readjust something. So there's actually a frag of red planet that has dropped off, and you know, I've been going past the tank for the past two or 3 days, and I just don't have time to go in, and you know, I need to climb on a stool, then I have to go in, I have to then dry out my hands, I need to have a towel, like it's a whole process. So I haven't been doing any of that, unfortunately, and that is it's a bit of a con right there. Now, the other pro that is great on this is the Euro brace. I actually love the Euro brace because the tank is a lot sturdier, but also there's less splashing. I just feel a lot better when the tank has Euro brace, and it's awesome. I really like it. However, it's also a con because you know, sometimes cleaning it is a little bit harder, but the cleaning of the back wall is actually super hard because you know, my tank is pretty close to the back wall, and I have fairly long arms, but I can only get with a scraper, if I position myself all the way to the back wall, I can only get myself to about, you know, 3 feet, maybe 2.5 feet, and then I'm stuck there. So guess what? The last foot to the overflow, or like last 6 inches to the overflow, then the whole overflow, all of that, I have to go in from this side. And getting in there, especially with corals taking space and everything else, it's extremely hard. So this is not for the faint of heart when we talk about cleaning this aquarium. So that's yet another aspect. What else? We will, in terms of you know, pros and cons, I would say I think the quality is great. You know, the glass is great. I think you know, it's still, you have to be very gentle with the glass. I think you know, if you look at it funny, it might scratch. So you have to be super careful with the cleaners, with the scrapers, and you know, just make sure that you are not in any shape or form have anything firm touching the glass. So just, you have to be paranoid from that perspective. it's super heavy. The whole system is super heavy, so you have to be prepared to reinforce whatever location you're in. It's just, in my opinion, this is a must. And in terms of the layout, I think the sump is laid out great. It's a massive sump. It's got lots of sections, and it's great. I think we can actually take a look at the sump. I want to show you kind of what I'm talking about here. So I don't think I have a light right now, but I think we can still see what I'm talking about here. So you have a section for the skimmer, you have the kind of the return. So I really like the fact that the main return is all the way in the back. So it's extremely large. I have all the heaters there. So the heaters are out of sight, out of mind, which is awesome. I've got the ceramic blocks, everything is all the way in the back there. And I'm not sure why my skimmer just turned off a second ago. Let me just double check. It is not clear. I'm curious as to what happened there. But anyways, we've got places for socks. Then it goes into a refugium section. So I'm running a refugium right over here. And we can talk about that because I've actually been doing something different this time around. You've got a massive, massive section for skimmer. You can fit 2 skimmers if you wanted to for redundancy. You could say that again. You have everything else in here. I wonder why my skimmer just turned off a second ago. Those things always concern me, and I right now don't know why it got turned off. So I'm gonna keep an eye on it right there. So sump is awesome. You have enough space for all the dozers, and I actually have the Trident in there. Like, there's a space for everything. And another awesome thing is that you've got a equipment panel on the left and on the right. So there's 2 of them, which means that I don't need to worry about having all the equipment in here. It's also a little bit of a pain. If I want to press a button on it, I have to remove the panel to get my access to it, but you can't have both, and I'd rather have that. So it's very neatly organized. I love that part. I also like the part that it has the legs that can be lifted and leveled. I probably spent several I want to say days just leveling the aquarium. So yes, actually days, not weeks, but actual days. Why? Because I have I just wanted to make sure it's perfect. So I had like probably 3 different levels. I had an electronic level as well, laser, and I made sure that it is just perfect. There's no heavy spots on this thing. Like, the whole thing is just perfect from that perspective. Yeah. Oh, interesting. You guys are seeing me on both streams right now, which is kind of cool. Let's see if I can do something here as well. Back on in a second. Okay, so we are talking aquariums right now, and what else? So those are the pros. Overall, I'm very happy with the tank. I think I can definitely recommend it. I would prefer maybe a little bit more substantial stand for this thing, just in terms of the poles, but I'm not an engineer, so I'm sure Waterbox did their homework, and they've kind of there's contingency factors and risk factors and everything else, but that to me is, I guess, an important aspect of it. But it's been 6 months that I've been running it. It's super sturdy from that perspective. I love it. It's a great aquarium. I hope I've answered your question. I can't think of anything else. Oh, there is one more con that I can think of. The baffles are definitely not easy to clean because you've got those teeth in the baffles. The reason is you've got the overflow right above it, and the algae grows, and it's very hard to go in there and kind of clean it pristinely, and I keep forgetting to clean it. So now I've got some coralline algae in there, and I dread the time when I have to go and do something there. So that's just how I deal with this thing right now. Hey, God of Jackpots, hello. All right, let's read some more of your questions here as we are talking things reef. The brine coral, I think is Favia is the name, in the middle of the green one, is regrowing or receding. What happened to it? Okay, so FDL, sorry for taking some time to answering the previous question, but this is actually a really cool story. So this is probably my absolute favorite coral out of all of them, and the reason is kind of receding because it's been through so much. When I got him over 10 years ago, and it was smaller than the size of my fist. And again, if you go back in my videos, you can actually see it with me in probably 3 or 4 or 5 aquariums there. And over time, it's been through a lot. It grew, and then at some point there was a bit of a neglect on my part. There was also a time when I was setting up my 5-foot water box right in the beginning. I think I had an aluminum poisoning in the aquarium, and that thing almost died. So if you look at some of my videos back then, you will see I was talking a lot about my I guess corals dying, and there's always something. Like, you look at this, but trust me, there's so much more that I could be doing, and I just haven't really, like, some of the corals look amazing. Some of them I think I can do a lot better, and I'm slowly adjusting all of my water parameters, my lighting, everything, just for it to be as good as possible. So I hope that answers your question. It is my favorite coral. I think it's eventually going to regrow on top of it, or at least that's what I'm thinking. Worst case, I think I can just kind of cut it and let it do its thing, but it's a very slow grower, but I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite corals. Okay, Kieran says, I have a 350 peninsula that I'm upgrading to 625 Red Sea. I have live rock maturing in another tank for over 4 months, and I'm wondering how I aquascape while keeping the beneficial bacteria. So that's a good question. So the way I do it is I don't have an eye for being able to just do everything in my head. Like, I'm more of a tinkerer. So what I would do is I will go in and I will put things in the aquarium, and then kind of take a step back, maybe take a day or two, and just explore what the tank looks like, and see if I like where the coral is and whether I can do something better. So this is kind of what I've been doing. So I've done it many times, and my answer to you is just kind of put whatever structure in there, and then you don't need to get it on day one. Like, you can probably do it over a course of several months. Like the tank, what you see here, even here, I've gone through several iterations, and if you are new to this channel, you can see a couple of videos back where I actually document me aquascaping the whole aquarium. So that is what you can also do if you wanted to. This camera does have an orange filter on, but I don't know, I can remove it for a second there and you will see what it looks like. At the end, it all is in the eye of the beholder. So this is the tank without the orange filter. I don't know if you like it any better. So orange filter, no orange filter. I think it just cuts through some of the blue right there. So not a bad thing in of itself. Okay, so that is what I'm doing over here. Let me read some more of your comments. Oh wow, there's a few. Bob McCry says, I have a Red Sea, 650, about 120 gallons. So I have a Red Sea 650, about 120 gallons. I added a Reef mat 1200, and now I have noticed my protein skimmer is barely getting any skim off empty cup once a month. Is this normal? Reef mat working too well? You know what? I've never run a filter roller. I heard some great things about it, but I just, I'm okay with having a little bit of particles in my water. Like, I don't need this to be super polished. Having said that, I clean my skimmer cup every couple of days, otherwise it just becomes inefficient, and there's always gunk in there. So that has always been my experience. I would probably take the Reef mat offline and just see if you will get anything in your cup, but every once a month, it's, in my opinion, this is too much or too long. All right, let's see what else. Thank you so much for all your tips, greatly appreciated. Thanks, Robert. Interesting feedback on the back wall. Yes, lots of space. Yes, you've done great. Thank you for generous sponsor. Vishnu Reddy. How high are your lights from the top of the tank? Well, I can actually show you, and I can also explain why it's going this particular way. So this is, I want to say, about 8 inches, 7 to 8 inches from the top of the tank, and then there is another, I want to say, 1.5 inches here, so 9 inches from the top. I try to bring it down as low as possible, but the problem is that you cannot go in and do anything with the aquarium. So that is the trade-off. In my perfect world, I don't want to see the light at all. I want to see the light inside of the aquarium. That's just how I like it. And overall, this is it served me very well. For a while, I had it higher, and when it's higher, I think it's it's a bit nicer spread. But yeah, this is kind of what I've been doing. I've recently increased the light intensity on the aquarium quite a lot. Wall Street Bats. Ooh, I like your name. Love the hammerhead glass cleaner. It's not a hammerhead glass cleaner, although I do have a, I know exactly what you're talking about. I have the one of their cleaners as well, and I'm a big fan, but this is old school now. This is actually a water box cleaner, which came with this beautiful aquarium, and I like it a lot, but I think it's very much comparable. Okay, so we've got, yes, I hope it regrows as well. Is this re-recorded, pre-recorded? No, it's not pre-recorded, Wall Street Bets. Or maybe it is pre-recorded and I've anticipated you asking that question at this particular time, as well as I anticipated you asking further follow-up questions. So how would you know? Wish my soil tank was that small again. Yes, this soil tank is probably my absolute favorite fish now. For the longest time, it was my powder blue. Where's my powder blue? Oh, right there. But lately, it's been this one. Now, shall we feed some fish? I think it's not a bad idea, just to get some fish some of that loving. Let's see. I have my own mix that I make. It's dry pellets, but I'm using a whole bunch of different ones all mixed up together. And the fish really like it. So this is pretty awesome. Okay, what else? Vishnu says, thank you. Do you worry about glare from lights when you sit and watch? Vishnu, not really. So you may notice, well, I do have the visors on top of it. So right now it's a little bit too high, but if you go to treasurecorals.com, you'll actually see what I'm talking about. There's custom visors that I make that are awesome, and I've been running them on all of my blade lights, and I also have the ones for both Radions and Hydras. So I despise having any light in my eye. That is just not how I roll. So with that said, I will not do that. And hold on a sec, let me just see. Okay. Yeah, so I don't like having any light in my face, and that is why I am using the visors. So I highly recommend them, and I refuse running any aquarium where I see the stray light in my eye. The light has to be inside of the tank. It has to perform its duty there. So that's kind of the case. All right, let's see what other questions. So would you not permanently glue rock? I do not permanently glue rock. Kieran Rowley, that is exactly how I roll. Every single one of those rocks that you see is connected to a rock below on a pillar using a very thick half-inch acrylic, clear acrylic rod. So I drill them, I put them together. Again, if you go back in some of my videos on aquascaping, you will actually see that. And the reason I do this is because every one of those rocks I can remove, I can disassemble. If I have any issues with it, let's say there's a coral that's overtaking it or aptasia or who knows what, I can actually deal with that over time. So that is how I do it. And same with every coral. Actually, every single coral that you see here, I can remove from the aquarium and I can reposition. And that's why things are looking so, balanced in many ways. This is just kind of how I do it. So yes, hopefully that answers your question. And how much par those SPS are getting. So I only increased the par today. So I'm getting now closer to 350, I want to say. It was closer to 250 at the top of the corals for the past week and a half. I finally measured my par, and I've increased the par. And I'm gonna keep an eye on the aquarium and see how things are doing. But yeah, I've got enough phosphates, I've got enough nitrates. If you want to see what those are, there's a link where you can actually click on Aquatic Log, where you can see all of my parameters on this aquarium live. So this is one of the things I do. You can always see every single parameter, you can see them historically, so this is kind of how I run it. All right, my face glare, we'll check. Thank you, Vishnu, and should you have any questions, please let me know. I ship these visors everywhere in the world. We have customers, satisfied customers in Australia, in Germany, like in different places in Europe, obviously in North America, and it goes really fast, so it's awesome. Big RCT, YBFG. What does YBFG stand for? What is the best way to grow zoas and candy cane corals? I believe it or not, I don't know a single thing about zoas. So I've only recently introduced a couple of zoas over here. I don't think they're doing amazing, but I'm not your zoa guy yet. After 15 years of keeping corals, I'm only now starting to play with zoas. I'm very excited about it, and stay tuned. I'll learn a thing or two. Now, the candy cane is a different story. I have one right over here, and it's a neon color. It's phenomenal. I love it, and it was gifted to me by my good friend Felix, and it is just doesn't want to be bombarded with flow. Maybe not super strong light. It's an LPS coral, pretty easy, so it's awesome. Okay, killed my large black tank, sailfin both my hippo tanks, and just terrorizes my pattern on purple blue now. Well, thank you, Wall Street Bets. I'm actually very excited. Maybe you're reading my future here. So far he's a. I tried to have him together with the clown, did not work. He went after clown almost immediately, the clown tank, which I really wanted to have in here. But you know what, I'm gonna keep an eye on him for as long as I can. When he becomes too dominant, well, he's gonna be out. So that's just how it is. But I'm gonna enjoy him for now, and he's a beautiful, beautiful fish. I've seen a few grown specimen, and they're just incredible. All right, Stanley Nestaraj says, please, how did you reinforce your floor? Well, you have to talk to structural engineers, which I did, and the structural engineers made some suggestions. I gave all the details. I had to. So this is not a it's not a Mickey Mouse job. Like this is, you have to be very, very serious about that. I would suggest starting with them and then listening to what the professionals will be telling you. You don't want to take any risks from that perspective. Yes. All right. Modular is the only way to go. Yes, you are right. Game recognizes game. That's kind of what I would say when it comes to that. Why did my hold on a sec. Yes. First time seeing your channel, Mountain Man AK20. Hey, first time seeing your channel. I'm thinking about getting into reefing saltwater and have a spare 75-gallon tank. What brand of filter should I get for one-time buy? All right, well, first word of advice. First word of advice to a mountain man. Let me see if you can see me in the camera there. So I will do that so you can actually see my face as I give you that sage word of advice. Sorry for the color, but this will have to do for the live stream today. The word of advice is run. Don't even start with this. Like, it's gonna be a very frustrating experience and very expensive experience, and the one that you will regret. Now, if you're still listening, you might still have a chance, and while everything I said is true, in my opinion, there is also a large sense of reward and accomplishment, and you get a chance to learn so much about every single part of biology, and like all of those things are phenomenal. So if you want to do it, subscribe to a few YouTube channels and like learn, and also don't take anything that anybody will tell you as kind of the last oh, like this is like the gold advice really, because it's very anecdotal in this hobby. Now, to answer your actual question, you are for 75 gallon, I would go with a sump. So research what a sump is. Aquarium underneath aquarium. So this is how the saltwater aquariums are done. And go with a reputable brand. The one that you see behind me is Waterbox. If Waterbox is available where you are, I would just go to waterbox.com and just get it, because then the sump pretty much is the filter. Do your research. Feel free to reach out on my Instagram, or you can write me an email, or go to treasurecorals.com, and I'll do my best to help you with this, and appreciate you checking out my YouTube channel. Yes, does Fish Daddy is asking, does your filefish eat Aiptasia? I've thought of getting one. You know what? I have. I thought for a while that it wasn't. So I have hit and miss experience with the filefish. So some filefish that I've had done a very good job, then some have not. In this aquarium, I actually had a few pieces of Aiptasia where I was starting to get worried. And then I put it in, and I never saw it, nip at it, and everything else. But I think my Aiptasia is starting to disappear. So I would highly recommend having a filefish, and maybe having a couple and just keep rotating. But yeah, I think he's done something. I cannot see that ugly piece of Aiptasia that I had in my aquarium before. So that is kind of my experience so far with it. So highly recommend it. Yes. How many times are you feeding a day? So yeah, I'm being asked. I try to feed as many times as I can. If I, let's say, am home on a weekend and I'm around, every single time I'm coming up to the tank, I'll take a sprinkle of whatever and I'll throw it in there. And I'm not feeding enough. I need to be feeding 10 times more, but I just have been neglecting it a little bit from that perspective. So I have automatic feeders. I would do this. I will feed as much as I can where my phosphates are just not skyrocketing. My phosphates right now at 0.4, so they've come down significantly. But as soon as they're gonna get to even lower, I will just be feeding the heck out of this. I was snorkeling last year, and when I saw the tangs in the wild, oh my god, like they are this thick, and we're doing our animals a disservice if they are not super fat. So you want that fat on the belly, in my opinion. Okay, I appreciate all of you who have liked the video. Obviously helps. Please also consider subscribing. I do these videos. I do like not a live stream. I do a regular high quality 4K video every week where I document one of my aquariums. I talk about in-depth things about corals, answer questions, all of that stuff. So and you know, your support is very much appreciated, guys and gals. Really appreciate it, because at the end that helps me run this channel and be able to afford this aquarium. It's you know, it is what it is. So Luke is now asking, how is your blue throat triggerfish? So I always loved blue throat triggerfish. I always had them in every single one of my larger aquariums. I love him. For whatever reason, when I put him in this aquarium, he always likes to hang in that corner over there. First I was concerned, but he just likes to hang over there. Nobody's harassing him, nothing. He's awesome. Highly recommend him. I have shrimp in here. So far he hasn't, I think he hasn't done anything. Can I see the shrimp? Yeah, I can still see some shrimp. So, you know, that's just what it is. All right, let's read some more of your questions. Best advice ever, yes, exactly. What else? Pests a pain in the ass? Yes, I couldn't agree more. If you can survive in the hobby for 2 years, that's when you can start enjoying your tank. Yeah, I would agree with that. Clearly, we've got an old salt, who joined our channel there. Yeah, I don't know if you know, but on average, the aquarium has. So in this aquarium, you've got, on average, I want to say, what is it, 18 months? There was something really, or 8 months. Like it's average time in the hobby is very, very short, and that means that there are people that quit after 2 months, and then there's people that quit after 3 years. But if you think about it, even if it's 18 months, it's so short of a period to have a reef tank of any kind. It's very frustrating. It's very expensive. You will make mistakes. I've made so many mistakes. It's not even funny. But I think I agree with Wall Street. If you stick around, that means that there is something that draws you into this, and that's kind of been my case. Let's see if I can change up the picture a little bit to make it look a little bit better. Nice tank, ERs. Yeah. So thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah, that is where we are. Anyways, I think this is as good time as any to end. It's been an hour-long session. I appreciate all of you dialing in. I'm always trying something new. This is kind of a cool way to reconnect and just say hi to everybody. Yeah, there's a reason why we do what we do. So make sure to check out treasurecorals.com. If you don't know what Aquatic Log is, it's an app. I make this app. This is something that I'm very passionate about. This is like if I've got some time on the weekend, I will work on my app. I enjoy programming, and I built this service, aquaticlog.com, and the app about over, I think, 11 years ago. It used to be a website. Now it's mostly on the app, but it all syncs up. So if you got multiple phones, if you, God forbid, you lose your phone, whatever, you will not lose your data. It's everything is, you can share it with others. It's awesome, and it's free for one aquarium. So it's a no-brainer in my opinion, and you know who makes it now. So just check it out. And I also make a lot of unique products that you will see on treasurecorals.com that are all done by yours truly. I design them myself and ship them everywhere in the world. If you need any corals, and if you are in Toronto or Greater Toronto area or anywhere in Canada, really, because I ship, send me a note, check out the website, and I will take care of you. Everything is only grown in here or in my farm. I don't import anything, so this is kind of what you will get. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you for checking out this channel, and we'll chat later. I do videos every week